Our next president, Joe Biden.
Among those on stage Tuesday will be the current Democratic frontrunner in national polls, former Vice President Joe Biden. Biden is focused on national security in light of recent events with Iran.
That's why it's so important to elect someone who's already ready on day one when they're elected to pick up the pieces of this disarray and immediately be a commander-in-chief of our armed forces.
Biden faces a strong challenge in early voting states like Iowa and New Hampshire, especially from Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. One recent poll shows Sanders leading in Iowa.
And when you live paycheck to paycheck, it's not just that you can't afford decent housing or decent car. It's the stress of trying to survive every day and not knowing next week whether you'll be able to put food on the table or pay the light bills.
It's going to take big structural change.
Tensions are on the rise between Sanders and some of the other contenders, including Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren. Warren has slipped a bit in recent polls, but remains a strong factor in Iowa and New Hampshire.
You know, I was disappointed to hear that Bernie is sending his volunteers out to trash me. Democrats need to unite our party, and that means pulling in all parts of the Democratic coalition.
Sanders has denied targeting Warren. Another strong contender in the early voting states is former South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg. Buttigieg is focused on national unity.
It calls for a different kind of patriotism and commitment to national security, a love of country that begins with the knowledge that our country consists of people, and you cannot love a country if you hate half of the people in it. I'm talking about something better.
Former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg has not qualified for the debates, but he has moved up in the polls after a massive television ad blitz in hopes of competing in primaries in March.
I know how to create jobs and build businesses, not because I played a business leader on a TV show, but because I've actually been one in real life.
The race in Iowa appears to be wide open at the moment, says analyst John Fortier.
So I think the race is fluid, but there's a clear front runner with Joe Biden. Unless he gets knocked off his horse in the early contests, he looks pretty strong.
The pace of campaigning will intensify over the next few weeks as voters in Iowa and New Hampshire get ready to render some early judgments on the candidates. Jim Malone, VOA News, Washington.
All right, we'll go on to the next one. All right.